everybody, and welcome to Books Unbound, the podcast where we unbind books to get to their hearts with your hosts, us. It's Ariel and
Raylene. Hello.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to a gloomy Monday. Is it gloomy over there?
It's like gloomy and sunny at the same time somehow.
I know what
you
you
know
mean.
those times of days, like the sky is gray, but there is sunshine.
Yes.
It's pretty good stuff. It's my favorite.
The best of both worlds.
Yeah.
Not depressing, but not too bright.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, man. All right. How's the West Coast, really? And how's life over there? How are you doing?
Oh, I mean, I'm doing good. I just wanted to, first of all, follow up on the podcast recommendations that everyone has given me.
Yes.
Lots
wow.
of
People
good
went
ones.
crazy.
Yeah, people went crazy. So I'm going to be set for podcasts for a long time, especially because I started listening to one, but it was one that you recommended to me. I've started the Unread Podcast. So
Oh my God. And?
I'm loving it. Like
Yes!
It's my
Yes!
driving to work in the morning podcast. Like that's what I listen to as I'm driving to work, and it's just lovely. Like I'm still in the early episodes. Like I think I'm on episode 7 or 8 now.
Okay,
and
gotcha.
I'm still ready for like the audio to get a little bit better because it's a little bit sketchy at times.
Yeah,
but
and it does get way better.
Yeah, I figured it would, but it's so fun. And at the beginning of the podcast, I was like, I cannot tell these two people apart. And it's funny because now that I've listened to enough episodes, I'm like, well, of course I can tell who's who. And like, I know at first I was like, I don't know their names. I don't know who's who. And it kind of made me think of people listening to our podcast because people often will say like, you guys sound the same, which I think is crazy.
Yeah.
But I guess if you don't know a person and what they sound like, it's hard to differentiate between them.
If you can't picture them and you know what I mean? And we're talking about the same thing and kind of the same excitement level, like I can see why you would think. But once you get to know us, I can't imagine that our voices actually sound very similar.
I really don't
So
think
that
they
makes sense to me as well. Yeah.
Yeah, but at first I was so confused. But now that I'm into it, I'm like, it's great. It's very funny. And I love like how sometimes they'll really take off on a tangent for a specific idea. And it's almost like they are making the podcast that they're talking about because they're just talking about it for 20 minutes. And it's just so fun. So I'm really enjoying it. So
that's the best.
I'm glad.
I'm so glad
I followed your recommendation finally.
Yes.
So yeah,
I love them.
So that's going great. Something that I wanted to talk about here too, that it'll be a week later by the time people listen to this, but I'm hoping that other people are just as outraged as I was. So today is Monday, April 17th. Yesterday, Sunday, April 16th, there was supposed to be a live reunion episode for Love is Blind on Netflix.
Okay.
It was supposed to start at 5 o'clock. I was ready at 5 o'clock. 5:05, it's giving me an error screen still. 5:15, it's giving me an error screen still. Netflix has tweeted. I went to Twitter for this. I don't go on Twitter anymore, but I was like, I need to know what's going on. Netflix tweeted. They're like, oh, it's going to be 15 minutes late. We're starting in 15 minutes. And then they were dead quiet for the rest of the night. And at 6:30, it still hadn't started.
Oh my God.
So I think it eventually did start, but at that point I had given up. And I tried to watch it as well. When people on Twitter started saying, oh, it's working. It was not working for me. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to go watch something on Disney Plus instead.
Oh!
So I've got some beef with Netflix right now.
Oh my God, that's scathing.
It was just so annoying, like I was ready to, I just wanted to sit down and watch this dumb show and then go about the rest of my night. But instead I wasted an hour and a half and then was like, what do I do now?
That does suck.
It did
I don't know what Love is Blind. What is Love is Blind?
You've never heard of Love is Blind? Oh my God, Ariel, let me tell you. This is actually, this is amazing. Maybe I can turn you on to Love is Blind. So it is a reality TV show. This is now in its 4th season. So it's kind of evolved into a thing that I think is a lot more batshit crazy than it was in the first season, because in the first season, you just had normal people who were like, sure, I'll be part of this experiment. So it's basically like a social / like relationship experiment where these people are like, there's a bunch of men and a bunch of women. The men all live together and the women live together, and then they go on dates with the people like of the opposite sex, but they can't see each other. That's the thing. They go into these pods where they can talk to each other, but they can't see each other. And they talk to each other over 10 days. And if people fall in love, they can choose to propose to the other person. And
propose.
Yes, propose. And if they say yes, then they get to meet face to face. And then all the people who have like gotten engaged go on a big vacation where they all get to meet each other in real life and like get to know each other and get to know what they're like outside of the pods. And and sometimes it, you know, breaks them because they're like, oh my God, I can't stand the way you chew or whatever. Like they start learning things about each other that they would have never known. And then at the end, like within a month of meeting each other, people are having weddings. And so all these weddings are in part of the show. And sometimes they say yes, sometimes they don't. And so that's the basic premise of the show. And the first season, I feel like, was very like wholesome and had some really lovely people. But now it's just become like just people who want to be on TV. And so people who clearly don't care about love or being nice to people, like they are just there to like get on TV basically. And so it's just devolved into this kind of like crazy show. And they always do a like a reunion episode a year later or 2 years later, whatever it may be. But usually it's, you know, filmed, edited, and released. This time, for some reason, Netflix decided to do a live reunion, and then their servers could not handle it. And so, at least that's what we've been told. Who knows if there's some other reason? But
okay, because I didn't know that Netflix did live things.
This is only the second one. They did.
Okay, so that's why
most
it's such
recent
a disaster.
Comedy special, and I went to look it up and see if that worked, because I think it worked. But I don't know if Love is Blind is just way more popular than Chris Rock or something. Like, I don't know. But it broke the internet last night. And I haven't even looked to see if it's available to watch now, because I probably will watch it today if it's up there. But I was really looking forward to watching it live, because it'd be like every little thing that happens. Exactly. And plus, like, unedited, like any little thing could just be like revealed and like give more drama, and they can't edit it out and stuff. So, yeah. I was really disappointed about that. But now you know what Love is Blind is. You should watch it.
Now looking at Love is Blind. So is this for season 4?
Yeah.
Do you know how many episodes there are supposed to be?
Usually? I think there was 10 or 11. I think the wedding episode was episode 11, and then there should be a live reunion after that.
Oh, yeah. No, I see it. Episode 13 is the reunion, and it's there, but you can't click it.
Yeah, that's what happened last night. Like, it was showing it to me, but it wouldn't let you click on it. That's really annoying. Maybe it's just because we're in Canada. Still happening. Maybe they are doing something to it. They're doctoring the footage so that it'll be different when I watch it.
And I'm looking at, I've typed in Love is Blind now, and I'm also seeing Love is Blind Japan, Love is Blind Brazil,
Ariel, Love is Blind Japan is so good. Like, you would I really think you would like that one. It's the most wholesome version of the show. Like, it's really funny. Is so cute. I forgot to tell you about Love is Blind Japan. Yeah, that's the best one.
I thought, okay, you know Jess in Gilmore Girls?
Yes.
What's that actor's name?
Milo Ventimiglia.
Yeah. He's in a show that's famous now, and I think it's already... Isn't it This Is Us?
Oh, yeah. That show's great.
Okay, that's what I thought you were talking about when you were talking about Love is Blind, and I was like, a reunion? I was like, I thought it was kind of still going. I was like, I didn't realize that it was like...
No, that show is over, though, actually, yeah.
But it only ended in 2022, it says. So I'm like, how would they already be doing a reunion? My God, no, that's a completely
Love is Blind, This Is Us. Wow, yeah, totally different. I love that.
I don't watch reality shows. Would you say that competition shows count as reality shows?
Yeah, I would say so. It's a different genre of reality. I like both. Show. But yeah, I prefer competition shows. Like, that's definitely more my vibe, like a cooking show or a dance show or whatever. Yeah. I love that. But every now and then something like this will just like hook me in. And
what was that other Japanese one you really loved?
Terrace House.
Like, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, Terrace House unfortunately had some like a tragedy attached to it, and I think the show is canceled forever, so that really sucks. But I used to I loved it back when it was still happening. Yeah.
Oh boy, yeah. I'm sure that there's a lot of people listening to this that they can't believe I've never heard of Love is Blind.
Yeah, it actually shook me that you've never even heard of it. Like, never watched it, that's fine. But it's so big.
I feel like I must have heard of it.
You must have seen it while scrolling through Netflix. Like, I feel like it must have been there, but maybe
not. My
not.
Netflix page does not recommend reality shows to me because I think they know that I don't watch them.
That makes sense.
All it does is recommend me 80s and 90s rom-coms. And I'm like, perfect! I will!
I mean, I guess it shows that the algorithm works on Netflix. I just would have thought that they were trying to recommend it to everyone.
Okay,
like
so you know how we're all upset with Netflix right now because they're getting more expensive and they're canceling shows. We like blah, blah, blah. But do you find, and I really find this, Do you find that every other streaming platform, Disney Plus, Prime, Crave, whatever, HBO, that their interfaces suck so bad? Do you
think about that all the time.
Because I literally don't understand how to get an episode on Disney Plus. I'm like, where are the episodes? I like click on the show and it just starts playing episode 1. I'm like, no, I want episode 3. How do I find episode 3? Or like I go on to Crave, which is like what we have in Canada, and it has a lot of the shows like HBO or Hulu or whatever that we don't get here. So they'll go on this other channel, Crave. I'll go on Crave to watch the next episode or to finish an episode of something I was just watching. Yeah. And it doesn't have the thing that's like, continue watching. And I'm like, how is this possible? Like,
I know.
Netflix's programming, like the UI UX stuff is perfect. It is so good at doing what it is supposed to do. And it's so easy to scroll. It's so easy to like search and type and everything. Everything else, I'm just like, this is so dumb.
It's impossible to find things. The search sucks. Like, I know on Amazon Prime, like you'll have to like type in words and then you have to like key over and then go up to where they have the suggested words so that you can try and find them. Like, it's just not good.
It doesn't auto search like with the first 3 or 4 letters that
but
you're
Netflix,
using.
you can search like feelings or like vibes that you want, and it'll show you those movies.
Or I typed in like Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah.
Like this was a couple days ago, and it will like show me all the movies they have that Scarlett Johansson is in, and then movies that are similar to ones that Scarlett Johansson would be in. And I'm like,
it's genius.
Like the tagging is fantastic.
Yeah.
Gee. I'm glad I got that off my
Netflix
chest.
is great, but it's also disappointing us right now. Yeah.
All right. You had something else you want to talk about, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm ready.
So this is one like fun thing that I did that I didn't tell you I was going to do, but I did. And that was to go to a book sale. I went to a book sale.
Okay, this is fun.
Yeah.
Okay,
so obviously we have become big book sale people. We love them now.
Actually, that reminds me. I have not looked up when the next Halifax
You're
one.
probably either you just missed it or there's one coming soon. That's what I'm hoping. Okay. I'm hoping you've got one coming soon. Because and I actually filmed a little vlog for this for our patrons, so that'll be up by the time this comes out. And I've done a book haul and everything in there. But yeah, it was super great because I finally got to go to the big book sale again. So in my surrounding area, there are like 3 book sales. There's one that's really close to me that is usually okay, but the books are way more expensive. And then there's one that's a little further away that's pretty good, but very small. And then there's the one that's the furthest away that's in a giant curling arena. And it's just like full of books and everything is $3 and it's just stellar. So this is the one I got to go to. It's been a while.
There's something so Canadian that all of our book sales happen in hockey arenas or curling rinks, which is just, it's just like these big giant spaces that are empty sometimes. By the way, I looked it up. I didn't miss it. The big Halifax book sale is on May 13th and 14th.
Oh my God, perfect.
So I'm so glad you said this because I'm writing it in the calendar right now.
Yeah.
Book sale. Me and my brother who edits the pod, CJ, I know you know that. For people that don't know, we started a Google calendar called Goat Summer because it's going to be the greatest summer of our lives.
Yeah.
And we add everything that's cool that's happening.
Oh, that's genius.
Into this calendar together just so that we both know the cool stuff that's happening. So I'm writing that in now. CJ will know as well. That's so funny.
That's
Cool.
incredible.
All right, tell me more.
So yeah, I went with my mom, and the day before, like, because it always opens on a Friday and goes like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so one of my friends had Friday off of work, so she was like, I'm gonna go. I'm going to go to the book sale. And so I gave her the list of books I was looking for, and she kind of generally knows what things I'm looking for. So I'm like, all right, go off and call me if you find anything. And so I was really excited. She called me and she was like, I didn't find anything for you. But she found a whole bunch of books for herself and for her sisters and everything. So I was confident, like, if you put me in there, I'll be able to find something for myself. Like, I know
Get me on the ground.
Yeah, put me in coach. And so then we went on the Saturday, and at first it was like, I don't know, kind of slim pickings, but they had so many more tables that were just filled with like general fiction with like fantasy mixed in and stuff, because they never know what's what, so things get all mixed up. But usually there's like maybe one big table. This time there was like 3 really big tables full of fiction, so it took me a really long time to look through everything.
Yep.
Normally we're in and out of there in about an hour, but this time we were inside for about 2.5 hours.
Oh, wow.
Just scouring the tables.
That's kind of fun, though. If you've got the time to just hang out.
I completely lost track of time. When we got back to the car, I was like, how have we been in there for 2.5 hours?
Wow.
But it was glorious. So I ended up getting 9 books.
Uh-oh.
So I will quickly go through them. I don't want to spend too much time on this book haul. And also I got some like kind of weird books, but not necessarily super weird. I guess I'll start with one that's maybe one of the stranger ones, but exciting for the podcast. And that is Poles Apart by Terry Follis.
No way.
Have you heard of this one?
I feel like I've seen the cover, but I have no idea what it's about.
Yeah, it sounds like one that we will both really like. So
really? Okay.
Basically, it's about a blog that like goes from having no followers to having tons of followers overnight because like a talk show host talks about the blog, and there's like some controversial like things that the person who writes the blog like started writing about, and that's what like skyrockets them into fame. And that's all I really know, but also it has something to do with strip clubs, which is why it's called Poles Apart. So I think that's one of the controversial topics or something. And so I'm like, I don't know, I'm here for it. I'm totally here for it.
That's kind of fun too, because like obviously we love, well, I maybe more than you, but we like books about social media and like that explore that concept. Yeah. And I really, really like Terry Follis. So the idea that he wrote maybe a book that's like about the internet, that's interesting.
Exactly. So that makes me very intrigued. I actually don't know when this one came out though. When?
2015.
2015. Well, you're right.
I'm looking at it here on his website.
Oh. I was like, how did you know? So that was the first one. I'm very excited about that. And then I got The Heart's Invisible Furies by John Boyne. So
wait, sorry, I don't want to interrupt you, but
please.
I've gone on his website and he reads the entire book of Poles Apart on his website.
Oh. Well, maybe
it says, welcome to the first chapter. Yeah, welcome to the first chapter in the podcast edition of Poles Apart, my 5th novel. It's the comic tale of a young man with an unusual but serious commitment to feminism. He has certainly not chosen an easy path, blah, blah, blah. The voice that opens each episode of the podcast belongs to my good friend Roger Day. And I think that it's an entire audiobook recorded just on his blog. So if people are curious to check this book out for free, it seems like you can.
That's really cool. This could be the next Albatross.
Oh my God, yeah. This one is available to the people.
That's amazing.
Okay, I will make sure to link that in the show notes.
Yeah, that's awesome.
All right. What's the next book you got there?
The next book I got is The Heart's Invisible Furies by John Boyne, which is the author who wrote The Boy in the Striped Pajamas. But this is one of his more recent ones. I don't know if it's his most recent, but it just sounds so great. And it has like a 4.5 average rating on Goodreads, which means that it's really, really good. And it's about this guy who was born out of wedlock to a teenage girl in Ireland, and he basically gets adopted by this well-to-do couple living in Dublin. And so it kind of gives me like Goldfinch vibes a little bit, and I love the Goldfinch obviously, so I'm always looking for more books like that. But this is set in Ireland, and it starts in the 1940s and like goes all the way up to today. So it's a book that's about this guy's entire life, it sounds like, and I am just super down for that. I'm super down for that. And I'm always looking for more books that are set in Ireland. I really am intrigued by Ireland, so that was exciting. Then I got a couple of classics. I found Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier in this really pretty copy. So this is, who knows when or if I'll ever read this book, but it was one that I felt like, you know what, I may as well grab that when I see a beautiful copy.
Chipmunk book.
Exactly. And I've got another chipmunk book here, and that is Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte.
Oh, that's a cool copy.
But look at the back. He looks like Edward Cullen on the back.
It does look like Edward Cullen.
So it's the Penguin Deluxe Classics edition, which is, it's kind of a cool copy. It does have library stickers on it, but I was like, it's worth it. It's worth it for $3. It's in perfect condition otherwise, and I may be able to find a way to get the stickers off. We'll see. Yeah. We shall see. And then the last few books that I got here are pretty much all like fantasy and sci-fi, which I am like wanting to get more of. So this was a really exciting part of the haul for me. So first up, I got A Master of Gin by P. Jelly Clark. Ooh. And this one is like Egyptian fantasy and like has a totally different setting and is set in 1912 as well. And there's like all these different kind of like ministries and there's alchemy and like supernatural stuff. So that's all I really know about it. One of my friends has read it and liked it. So I kind of just like bought it because of that. But yeah, really excited to have that.
Anything that's similar to The Mummy starring Brendan Fraser is probably awesome.
Exactly. You can't really go wrong there. Then next up is The Power by Naomi Alderman.
That was such a huge book. It was huge.
And I remember I think I may have even bought it, like used probably, and then gotten rid of it because I was like, I'll probably never read it. But now I'm interested in it again. And so
Didn't they make a show of it?
Yeah, that's kind of what is getting me extra intrigued is I was just browsing on wherever it's streaming and I was like, wait, The Power. And then I looked at it and I was like, yeah, that's the book. I was, so it got me really excited about it. And
it's Toni Collette as the
obsessed
That's
with her. So I would love to watch the show, but I feel like I've got to give the book a try first. So really pumped about that. And then next
it says Naomi Alderman wrote some of the episodes. She actually she did scripts.
Well, that's awesome.
That's sick.
That's super awesome. All right. And then this next book I just kind of randomly grabbed it. It just feels silly. It was really popular, and then now it's like, why do I own this book now? Red Rising by Pierce Brown.
Oh,
so yeah. I bought this because one of my friends, she just bought the second book when she went to the book sale, actually, and she hasn't read the first one yet. And so she was like, you know what? I feel like last time I hung out with her, she was like, I feel like I might want to read Red Rising. And I was like, yeah, why? And she was kind of just like, oh, it just seems like it could be a fun book and be like really exciting and fast paced. And I was like, you know what? I could use another book like that. It's been a while. And I remember when this came out, a lot of people compared it to The Hunger Games. And so every time I think about that, I get a little bit more intrigued. I'm like, I could use a really cool, fast paced, crazy trilogy. Like I could really get into that right now. And so I don't know anything about the plot. I think there's some kind of competition in here, which is probably why people compare it to The Hunger Games, but I don't think it's actually like The Hunger Games in any way. But yeah, so I'm excited to have this, but it feels silly. I don't know why. I feel like, why do I have this?
Is it YA?
No. People
I've always thought
think it's YA though, so I think it's kind of one of those books that are like on the cusp. Like I think the main character is probably a bit younger or something. Like there's something that people often consider it YA, but it's not. It's not like published as YA anyway. Okay, and then I'm very excited that I found this because I was just talking about it recently. American Gods by Neil Gaiman.
What are the freaking odds, huh?
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's a TV show cover, but it's in perfect condition and is very beautiful. And I'm probably going to listen to the audiobook for it anyway because, like I mentioned, it's full cast. But I do like having a physical copy when I can, especially if I end up loving it. It'll be nice to have that. And then the last book is one that I actually had on my list, like on this list that I sent to my friend. I've been looking for this book for a little while now. And that is Lexicon by Max Berry. So this one is kind of random, and I've heard of this book over the years, but it never was something that I was really drawn to. But one of our listeners recommended it to me at one point. And I don't remember what they said about it that made me want to read this book so badly, but I really decided I needed it. And so it does sound pretty cool though. Like now that I'm just like reading the synopsis, I understand why somebody would think I would like this. So it takes place, or like at the beginning of the story anyway, there's this exclusive school and it basically teaches like history, mathematics, and like linguistics and things like that. And it's it's kind of like a spy school almost. Maybe not spy school. Those are the wrong way to put it. But it's to help people become like manipulative and like be able to like make people do things. Like it's kind of a school Slytherin. It's a Slytherin school. Exactly. Maybe that's why I was attracted to it. But that's all I really know. Like I don't know the rest of the plot. I just know that that's kind of where it starts. And I'm sure the main character is like, you know, a top pupil at this school probably. And
can you show me the cover again?
Yeah. And I ended up, it was a hardcover, the one I found, which I was a little ticked off about, but I realized that I like this cover better than the paperback one, so it kind of works out. And I feel like this will go with my Blake Crouches on my shelf. Like I've got all these like hardcover Blake Crouches. Totally. I feel like this fits a similar kind of vibe. So yeah,
I've definitely seen that cover before.
Right? I'm kind of excited about it. I think I might read it soon, but you know, I've said that before.
It has a good rating as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it says that it was a nominee for Best Science Fiction at the Goodreads Choice Awards.
Yes. I remember seeing that.
Interesting.
Pretty cool.
Well, heck, that's really fun that you went to a sale.
Right? I know. I was really
so-
excited to tell you about it.
That
Here's my
sounds so
little
fun.
secret.
I wish we could go to one together.
I know.
We've never gone to a big book sale together, have we?
No. Well, especially because it would be
No.
so difficult because one of us would have to carry all the books
Carry
home.
all those books home.
Yeah.
You're right.
Unless we meet in the middle. You know what we should do? We should go to a book sale in Manitoba. And then we both have to ship our books
And then
home.
we both have to suffer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's only fair.
That's so funny. Okay, well, sick. I guess we should transition over to my little haul.
Yeah, what you
because
got?
you just did
haul?
your haul.
Heck yeah.
Well, I only
Haul,
bought
yeah.
one book. Haul, yeah, baby. I bought one book, and I
You're
did
being
not need
restrained.
it.
Yeah.
I didn't need it. I shouldn't have bought it necessarily. Like, it was a sunny day, and I was
know
like,
how you
oh,
feel.
I want to go buy a book, and I wanted this book, so I just went and got it. And it is A Prayer for the Crown Shy
Yeah. No,
by
I'm glad
Becky
you did
Chambers.
That's a
Yeah,
good book to
me
pick
too.
up. That has a purpose.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
It's a sequel. You
Yes.
just read the first one. So this actually makes
Exactly.
perfect sense.
So this is like literally the first time in I want to say like 5 years that I've purchased the second book in a series.
That's true. This is crazy.
Like, I felt so crazy wanting to buy a sequel. I was like, I'm reading this series.
Who is she?
Look at me go. This one, it's also, they're very cute together, Raylene. Like,
They're
look
unbelievably
really,
cute. Yeah.
really pretty together. So here's the thing. There's no confirmation on whether or not this is going to have more books or not.
Right. Yeah. I was
But-
just wondering that.
I feel like it would be really weird if it didn't, because there's no marketing about it being a duology.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it says a monk and robot book. That
Yeah,
makes
I
me
wonder
feel
if
like
that
there's
just
going to be
leaves
loads.
it leaves it open to be as many books as she wants it to be.
Right, yeah,
you know?
I totally agree with that. I definitely think this one's a bit longer. So let's see. The paperback, the hardcover of the first book is 147 pages. And this one, oh my god, that's really funny, is 149 pages. So
Whoa.
it's 2 pages longer. I don't know why it feels a little, maybe just squishier. Anyways, I was really excited to get this one. This is interesting, Raylene. Oh, maybe it's not interesting at all. But under the dust jacket,
Ooh.
they're the exact same color.
That is cool. I like that.
Is that interesting? I feel like that's interesting.
It is. I feel like normally they kind of try and match it to the dust jacket color a little bit,
Right?
but this time they're like, nah.
The color on the spot, like of the
That's nice.
the book
writing,
or of the
yeah.
title, the writing is a different color. That is very interesting.
I love
so, anyways, I do really hope that I read this soon. I'm like, in my mind, I will. That's why I bought it, because I'm enjoying the series and I would really like to continue on with it. So, we're gonna find out. I've heard good things about it as well. But that's the only book I bought this week. I also wanted to talk about. Well, I'll talk about the book that I'm reading right now.
Yeah.
Because it's been a little bit of a journey, really.
I've had a little bit of a journey too, so I'm excited to hear yours.
Well, okay, so the book that I am reading is Haruki Murakami's Novelist as a Vocation.
Yay!
I have it on my little e-reader
That's
here.
awesome.
I'm literally like 4 pages in. So I have nothing to report about it. I have no good thoughts to say. I really hope I will have some good things to say next week. However, I wanted to talk about this just for a second because I'm thinking of a new term. It's time for a new term in our dictionary.
Okay.
So, we've got mashed potato books, we've got chipmunk books. I don't know what this is yet. I don't know what the term is yet. I'm
We'll figure it out
brainstorming.
together.
But it's basically library anxiety.
Okay.
So here's what happened, right? It was a normal day. I was happy. Life felt good. And then I get an alert on my phone that's like, the book you requested came in. And I was like, oh, but I'm not done the book I'm currently reading.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm going to deal with that later. And then 2 hours later, I get an alert that says the other book that you requested came in. And I'm like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And then I'm like, ignore. The next day, 2 more books came in. So in the span of a day, like in the span of 24 hours, 4 books that I'd requested came in. And when I say this, I genuinely felt so much anxiety. I was just like, this is so stressful. I can't read these books fast enough. And there felt like this weird scarcity mindset because I was like, if I don't read them now, maybe it's going to take them forever to give them back to me, like for it to do its rounds or whatever. But I can't read them all right now. Like, I can't read that fast. I'm not going to do it. And so I just felt so much anguish. I felt super stressed out that I was like, okay, I'm going to ignore this problem, right? Like, I don't want to look at it right now. This is stressing me out because now I have to pick one, basically. I have to pick one of these books and commit to it. And I don't know which one I want that to be. So maybe another day goes by. And then I'm like, I have to deal with this problem. And I look at it, at like the books that have come in and everything. Yeah. And it says, which I think is good, but it says on the app, 5 people are waiting for this book.
Oh, yeah.
3 people are waiting for this book. 4 people are waiting for this book. And suddenly the anxiety was even higher because now I felt like I was literally keeping other people from reading just because I was being, I don't know, greedy. I wasn't being greedy though, because at the time when I requested these books, none of them were available.
Yeah.
So I was just kind of like covering my bases where I was like, I don't know which one's going to come in. I don't know how long they're going to take to come in. So I'll just request like 8 books that I'm excited about and we'll see when they come in.
Yeah.
But anyways, I literally started a vlog for the Patreon that is like the first big clip of it is just me talking through all the books that came in and basically choosing one. And in the end, I chose this one, Novelist's Vocation, and then returning all the other ones, either returning them early or doing the little button thing that says like
Deliver later.
That
is my favorite button.
I've
been telling Libby to deliver the audiobook of The Way of Kings later for weeks now because I'm just like, I'm not ready yet. But you get to stay on the hold list the whole time. You can just say, deliver it in a week. Deliver it in 4 weeks.
Whenever the next person finishes it, it then comes to you or whatever. So I did that a lot. And I feel like I felt like I was drowning. And then finally I like ditched enough weights that I'm floating again.
Yeah.
But yeah, I need a word for this basically. So because as you guys know, I'm a really big book buyer, so are you, Ray. And I just haven't used my library very much because I haven't found that is the way that I like getting my books.
Yeah.
But now that I have my Kobo, it's been such an exciting... I should do a giant caveat. I have been doing audiobooks from the library a lot for the last few years.
Yeah.
But I just mean physical books. But yeah, now that I'm using my e-reader to get library books, suddenly I'm having this new anxiety. I'm calling it library anxiety right now, but I don't think that's the term.
No, I'll try and think of something while we keep talking. So I guess what I'm curious about is are all the books that you're requesting holds for books that you already own that you're just like hoping to read on your Kobo? Okay, that's cool.
Yes. Yeah. They were all books that I already owned. They were all books that I like. Most of them were books I bought recently. And I just like, they were all had like 12-week wait, 8-week wait.
Sometimes
whatever.
They zip through really quickly because I'm sure there's tons of people who are like, nah, deliver later.
Yeah.
and so all of a sudden you're first in line.
They all came to me. These are books that I was not expecting till like the summer. And now it's just like, here you go, have all of them at the same time. And I'm like,
I feel like it's also interesting because these are books that maybe you wouldn't normally be like picking to read next, but suddenly you're being almost forced to pick to read them, read them next.
Yeah, which I kind of like.
That factors into it.
On the one hand, I kind of like that because I'm like, no, it's kind of cool. Like sometimes I don't know what to read next, and this could be a cool way of the library picking for me.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, like I have found that I really am a mood reader, and so if I'm not in the mood for a book that I was in the mood for 3 weeks ago when I requested it, but now it's coming, I'm not in the mood for it, but I do still want to read it. I'm just like currently not in the mood. That adds to the anxiety.
Yeah.
Where I'm just like, oh my God.
Yeah. I kind of feel like I want to call it something like, I feel like it's like the library is like forcing you to do something. Like the library is like putting all this pressure on you.
There's a lot of pressure.
I kind of want to call it like stern librarian or something like that.
Or like the library pressure cooker effect or something, where it's just like the pressure is building. The pressure is building with every new book that comes in. The pressure is building.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe I'll keep thinking about this.
Yeah,
and
we're getting close. We're getting close to something.
We're getting close. But anyways, I've decided, I picked, and I returned everything else. Novelist as a vocation. And like I said, I'm not deep into it at all, so I have nothing interesting to say. I've read only a few pages.
That's so really exciting. I'm really excited that you're reading it, because I've been thinking about reading that for a while now. Like, that has been in the back of my head. It's like, oh, I should really read that soon. So I'm glad that you're doing it so that you can maybe encourage me to do it.
I think it'll be really good. I think I mentioned this a couple of months ago when I dipped into it, where it's like, it turns out that it's essays he's already published elsewhere.
Oh, I kind of forgot that.
Which I don't know if I like that as much, because now I feel like there's a trend going on here with Murakami Tea, his book about t-shirts. I was really excited when I bought that, and it turned out that they were articles that he'd written for a magazine that all got republished together. But because of that, there was no narrative thread. It was really like, it felt very piecemeal and like kind of random and a little repetitive as well, which would not be the case if these are just articles you're stumbling upon. But as a book, when you do really read it from beginning to end over a short span, it felt not great. And so I'm just like, is that going to happen with this one? Because I didn't realize.
Not. We got so excited about this one.
I know, me too. So we'll see about that. The other thing that I'm reading right now is the Anne of Green Gables manga.
Oh yeah, I keep forgetting about that.
Yeah, I know. So basically, as you may recall, dear listeners, I was reading this, and then I went on my trip, I think to New York. And I didn't take it with me because it's pretty chunky.
Yeah.
It's kind of a thick guy, and I was like, I don't need to take that with me. I took my e-reader. Yes, and then when I came back, I was like, cool, I need to finish that. And then a month went by, and then I went to England. And I was like, well, I'm still not going to take that. Like, it's still, the travel thing is still the thing. Yeah. So I left it behind, and now I've come home, and I'm like, I really got to finish that. Like, please.
Yeah, it's like a nice little way to spend some springtime reading.
Exactly. Yeah. Very springtime reading. So definitely going to try and finish that this week, though, because now it's dragging me. I'm just like, why are you still floating around my desk?
Yeah.
Get off of this desk.
Time for you to leave, Anne.
We're over.
Yeah.
All right, that's kind of what I'm reading right now. What are you reading? What have you read?
Yeah, okay, I'll take you through my little journey. So, as you may remember, last week I was reading The Cider House Rules by John Irving. So I had been reading that, and for a couple of days after we recorded, I was continuing to keep reading it. However, I was having some issues with that book, mostly just like a personal preference, because the book is about like medical stuff and a doctor and abortions, like I mentioned, and it kind of, just for me, like, it went into too much detail on the medical stuff, and I have like a phobia of surgery and medical stuff like that, and so it really just like made me uncomfortable to read, and I felt kind of like, oh yeah, this is making me feel ill, like I should stop reading this book. And so that kind of, and I don't know how much more it'll happen throughout the book, but there was like at least 3 distinct like scenes that were just like, I can't be reading this right now. And so I started to read some reviews just to see like, is this something that I think I'm going to like and will be able to push past? And it just didn't seem like it was going to go in a direction that I wanted to be reading. So I decided to put it down.
Damn. Okay, so are you saying this is a permanent DNF?
I think so. Read it? I think so. Yeah, like I'm definitely open to reading different John Irvings, obviously, because I know that it's just this particular book that kind of didn't work for me. So, but the thing that I'm now wondering is, because now I only have 2 of his books on my shelf. So does he still count as a most owned author that I still need to tackle? Ooh. And I haven't quite figured out an answer to that yet, because I tried reading one of his books. I feel like that almost counts. I did knock it off of my TBR. And I just can't, I can't see myself maybe being in the mood to read one of his books soon, but maybe later in the year. Maybe come fall time, I'll be able to. But for now, I'm like, I kind of feel like I ticked him off my list. Okay. Even though I didn't complete the book. You know what I mean? So I'm still trying to figure that one out.
I do know what you mean, because the point of the goal, while it obviously is to read the book, maybe at a deeper sense, it's to have attempted to read the book. Where it's like, I want to know if this is a book I'm going to like. And
exactly. Like, I've been realizing to read that book for years. Yeah. So just now that I know, I feel like I kind of accomplished the goal. But it does feel like a bit of a blurred line there.
So now you're saying he's not one of your most owned authors that you haven't read.
No, because it was the rule was 3 or more books.
Is there somebody else though that's now risen
God, that's a great question.
I don't, because maybe he's been replaced. and you have to read someone else.
You might be right. I don't think so. I don't think
Neil
that
Gaiman?
happened. But no, Neil Gaiman. Every time I get one, I read it. So
That's funny. Okay.
like I've only gotten Trigger Warning, which I read, and then American Gods is the only one I own by him that I haven't read. So he definitely doesn't fall into most owned. Most owned for me is 3 or more. Yeah. And because I have a few authors that I own too, like Charles Dickens. Thank God I only own 2. Otherwise, I would have had to read one. Yikes. But yeah, no, you might be right. Like I don't think I haven't really bought that many books so far this year until recently. So there's some books that I'm waiting to come, and it's possible that one of them might have been, it might have just been Hiromi Kawakami again, and she's already on the list. So if that's the case, I think I'm okay. But I'll keep you posted on that. I will do a double check, and I'll check back in next week and see if there's anyone new.
I feel like if somebody joins the list, you have to now add them.
You're totally right. That's a good
they're
rule.
Part of the challenge.
Yeah. Now I'll just keep buying more books from the authors that are already at the top of the list.
Yeah, you can buy as many Stephen Kings as you want.
Exactly. That's what I'll do. Okay, yeah. I think I might be in the clear, but I'll double check that. Cool. But so once I put that one down, I had to decide what to read next. And for some reason, the book that was calling my name was NP by Banana Yoshimoto.
I really thought you were going to say it was Call Me By Your Name.
No, that book.
The book that was calling my name was Call Me By Your Name.
No, I tried reading that book and it was not my style. Yeah.
I
Back
remember
in the
that.
day, when it was a long time ago. It might have been before the podcast even, or maybe I just didn't mention it, but it was around the time when the movie came out. Like I watched the movie and really liked it. And so I decided, I should track down that book. And I kept hunting at thrift stores. Eventually I found it. I started reading it and I was like, oh, I hate the writing style. This is not for me. So
gotcha.
Yeah, I'm sure it's a great book, but it's just not for me. But anyway, so NP by Banana Yoshimoto. I think I've just been wanting to read a nice, short, quick Japanese translated book. That's been what I really wanted deep down. I didn't want the Cider House rules. This is what I wanted. And I'm really happy to finally be reading this one because I read Kitchen a couple of years ago and really liked it and have been wanting to read more of her books now. And I'm really liking this one. I was hoping to finish it yesterday, but I ended up not having time because I was sitting around trying to watch Love is Blind, the reunion.
Damn it.
And it didn't work. I could have finished the book if I had just known that was going to happen. Anyway, I'm not bitter at all. But this book is, it's good. It's kind of dark and sad and about some kind of twisted things, but I'm really liking it. So the basic plot is you've got this woman who she works as a translator. She does English and Japanese translations, and her boyfriend, who has now passed away, used to do translating as well. And basically the kind of through line is that there was this author who wrote this book of short stories. He's Japanese, but he wrote the whole thing in English, and people have been trying to translate the book into Japanese so that they can be read in the native language, of the author. But there's kind of a string of tragedies. Every time somebody tries to translate this one story, they end up committing suicide. And it's whoa.
My God.
And including the author who wrote the original book and the girl's boyfriend and all this stuff. So it just has this tragic story, and it's
sinister.
What is it's very sinister, and it's what is happening, but it's also kind of surreal because it's is there something supernatural going on here? But probably not, but it's kind of what is going on here? And so that's the main plot, and the main character meets the kids of the author, and they were people who also kind of knew her boyfriend, and so they're all kind of connected. And so it's just about them getting to know each other and also talking about this book and this story. And so it's very, very kind of whimsical, but also dark and sinister a little bit. But I'm really liking it.
That sounds cool.
Yeah,
that sounds really cool.
It's really, really good. And now I'm wishing that I had ordered some more Banana Yoshimoto when I did my book depository order, but I chickened out. I wasn't sure because I was I've only read one. Do I really want to buy more when I haven't read another one? And then of course now I'm reading it, so it's just a little too late. But I mean, I could still make another order, but I'm not going to. I'm not going to do that. But now I kind of wish I had all of her books because I feel she is an author that I really like and would like to.
She's going to become another one of your authors, most own unread authors.
Probably, yeah. But
I feel you can often see Banana Yoshimoto books at book sales and stuff.
I was really looking for her when I went to the book sale, but didn't see one. And this one I randomly found at a thrift store last year, so I'm hoping that she'll be kicking around somewhere else. I feel whenever I see her, it's Kitchen though. That's the only problem. I feel
that's
I always
true.
see Kitchen,
It's
but
Kitchen.
I already own that. But I'm on the hunt now, so that'll be my hopefully next thing I find. More banana.
That's sick.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah. All right. So that's what you're currently reading. And wait, did you finish anything this week?
No, because
me neither.
I was hoping to finish NP and then start something new, and then that just didn't happen. So I will definitely, I'm hoping to finish another book before next week, because I'm going to finish this one today for sure.
What if you only read books that are 2-letter initials? Because your last book you read was YN.
I know. I thought that was kind of funny. When I put it into my spreadsheet, I was like, what are the chances? It's YN, NP.
NP.
The next one has to start with a P.
Yeah.
It's a train.
Okay, we have a couple more things to do in this episode. I have just one piece of book news this week, so maybe let's start there with a little book news. So this piece of book news is pretty juicy. Pretty juicy indeed. Yeah, I think you do, because it's the only piece of news that I care about this week.
That's the only one that matters.
It is the fact that Brenna Tumler has announced her next book.
Hell yeah.
This is very, very fun. We did talk about Brenna on a book news a couple weeks ago, because the third and final book in her current trilogy, which is Sheets, Delicates, and now the third one, Lights, that's been now announced. It comes out September, I think. I'm pretty sure it was September. September 5th. And so that's very exciting.
Yes.
But that is like the third book in this trilogy, and it's sort of like, what is Brenna gonna do next? Well, it's Gumshoe, which, first of all, what a name!
So
it's such a good name. Gumshoe is so fun. That for me is up there with Time Cat. Gumshoe.
Yeah, it's very
as
solid.
the title goes. And so she posted a screenshot. I don't know. Is that the right term for it? Like, it's art, so I don't know.
I don't know.
It's a screenshot, maybe. That this is being published by Harper Alley, the graphic novel division of HarperCollins, which has acquired her new book, and also they've acquired another book by her, which is cool. I don't remember where I saw that. I saw it on some press release thing, because she's now publishing under HarperCollins, which is exciting.
Yeah.
But she says, bet you know why I took that trip to Arizona now. The publication of this post-office Western, yes, you heard it here first, is slated for 2026 and will feature it's so far away, and will feature a gang of gals on the road attempting to catch an outlaw while overcoming their own insecurities. I'm so excited for this book, and I can't wait to share more over the coming years. Giddy up. Giddy up. Yeah. So what I love about this news as well is that, like, earlier this year, I read Outlawed by Anna North because a year ago or whatever, Brenna came on the podcast and told us how much she loved this Western. Connected. And now we know that it's all connected, and that she's been working and writing and illustrating this Western, her own Western.
I know, I have to read Outlawed now. I decided that.
This just sounds like so much fun. 2026 does feel like it is a long way away.
That's like insanely far. You know what that makes me think of? I always think about this. When I was a kid, my brother and I were watching some Disney movie or Pixar movie or whatever. And I distinctly remember it was 2004, and they showed a trailer for Cars. And it said coming out in 2006. And I was like, what do you mean? That's 2 years away. I remember being so furious that they would show me a trailer for something that was that far away. And so
now that's a slow burn.
It's a slow burn, especially because, like, I was a child. I was impatient. That felt like the longest time in the world.
Yeah.
So I always remember that. I'm like, how could you do this to me?
Want to know what's really, really scary?
What?
When Gumshoe comes out, we'll be in our 30s.
No, don't say that. We'll be like 32.
Okay, wait. It's 2023 right now.
Yeah.
So it'll come out in 3 years. Yeah. And we're 28. So we'll be, 31.
Depending when it comes out in the year.
Depending what month it comes out. Yeah, 31, maybe 32. Oh, God. I know.
Brenna, why? Why are you doing this to us?
That's really, really spooky.
That is. That's so many years away. Our lives will be completely different probably in those 3 years.
Yeah, we'll probably each have 4 children.
Exactly.
We'll live in Spain.
Exactly.
But we'll still have the podcast.
Of course.
That's so funny.
That's
okay, I wanted to share that little piece of book news because it's not little.
No, it's huge.
Huge piece of book news, actually. Yeah, the other obviously big piece of news is that apparently they're remaking Harry Potter. I don't even want to talk about it.
I know. I'm so conflicted about all of it. I don't know how to feel.
That's exactly the thing. It's so conflicting in 40 different directions.
Yeah.
So I'm mentioning it solely so that people don't keep messaging me about mentioning it.
We know.
We know. And we'll just watch how this whole era unfolds.
Exactly. I don't know how to feel about any of it. So.
Here we are.
Yeah.
All right. So the final thing we are going to do in this episode, though, this is fun. We're going to be talking about our mashed potato TBRs because... when is it? Well, this episode comes out on the 23rd.
Yeah.
So exactly
Almost May.
week from now. Yeah. Exactly 1 week from now on the 30th. Okay. So a week and a day from now or whatever, when this episode comes out. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it'll be Mashed Potato May. And if you don't know, a mashed potato book is a book that you've been meaning to read forever, but because you're so excited, antithetically, it makes you not read it. You're like trying to save it for the perfect moment.
Yep.
And this happens for a bunch of kind of different reasons, but the core concept is that you do want to read it. You just keep putting it off. So, yeah, we did this last year, Mashed Potato May, which is just a month where we try and tackle as many mashed potato books as we can. And if you want to participate, you should. So all that participating means is you also try and read as many of your mashed potato books as you can. And you can use the hashtag mashed potato May so that we can see what you're reading and you can all share what you're reading. But we're also making a Discord group if you want to get a little more active with it. So I will link to that Discord group here in the show notes of this episode and in the description of the YouTube version. Discord. I wrote that down, so I'll remember to do it.
Very important.
And because I realized I forgot to do it last week.
Oops.
So anyways, it's there too now for anyone who's curious. But Raylene, you start us off. What did you pick as your TBR pile?
So I have selected 3 books that I'm hoping to read. And they're all very much mashed potato books, but in like different ways. So I'll start out with Dead Girls by Abigail Tartlin. So you know what's funny? We have episode 200 coming up in the next couple of months. So we're in discussions about that. I'm not going to get into it.
Yes.
But because of that, just finished re-listening to our episode 100 to see what maybe we could talk about again. And this book, I listed this as a mashed potato book on episode 100.
And we're 100 episodes later, so that's 2 years at least.
So I thought, you know what? It's about damn time I read. Like, I literally just listened to that this morning, and I was like, no, what's wrong with me? So it's now on the list. It's a murder mystery. I'm sure it'll, be exciting and read very quickly. So I feel like that's a good one to have on the list.
Wow.
Next up. A book that I've been meaning to read for approximately a million years. A Visit from the Goon Squad by Jennifer Egan. So this one has just been on my radar for a long time. I want to say in like 2013 or 2014, a bunch of people I know read it and really liked it. And then at that time, I was like, oh, that's a great idea. I should read that too. And not too long ago on the podcast, Reagan actually recommended it to me as well. So I feel like I've had a lot of signs recently that I'm like, you know what? I should read that. It's also not very long. There's a whole section that's like a PowerPoint presentation, which I always have wanted to understand what that means and like, what does that look like? And so I'm very curious about that book. So I figured it was about time I put that on there. And then another one that has been, I've been meaning to read this for a long, long time, is Out by Natsuo Kirino. And this is a book that you actually bought for me that I already owned. This was because we did a book recommendation swap thing. And this, I think that also happened in episode 100. So it's another one that I'm like...
That's so creepy.
And I owned it before. I owned it way before you bought it for me. So I don't even want to know how long this book has been on my list. And one of my good friends also recently read it, and she was like, have you read this book? You have to read this book. And I was like, I gotta do it. I've got to do it. The only thing is that this one is kind of long, so that's I think partly why I've been putting it off too. Like I'm so excited for it, but it's like over 500 pages in the edition that I have, so it just feels kind of intimidating. But I think if I'm able to stick to this TBR, those 3 books in a month is very doable. Like I feel like I could definitely make that happen.
I agree. Okay. I love these books. Abigail Tartland wrote Golden Boy, right?
Yes. That's why I own this. Like, I'm just like, I want to read another book by her because I love Golden Boy.
I'm so curious because you love that book so much, and I don't know anyone else who talks about that book. Yeah. And I'm sort of like, you could be Abigail Tartland's biggest fan, and we just don't know.
I could be. She commented on one of my Instagram photos one time because I was like, I wouldn't stop. Or maybe it was my review on Goodreads. I can't remember. I was just like, that's cool. It made me excited. Oh my God.
It's happening. Yeah. You're famous. We're blowing up.
Abigail Tartland knows who I am.
Okay, I also wanted to set myself up for success. Okay. I was like, Ariel, we need a strategy that's going to work. Okay. We need to do something that's going to make this all feel doable, especially because I'm so bad at TBR piles. Like, if I challenge myself to do a list, I suddenly want to read any book that's not on the list, right? But I think that this is going to work. What I've done is I've picked books that I haven't finished. Books that gave up on.
That's smart.
Books from my graveyard.
Yeah.
So the first one is Swimming Studies.
Yeah.
I think everyone will remember how much I was loving this book last year. Oh my God, I just found $100 in it.
Excuse me? What on earth? Oh, that's funny.
That's so much money.
To me, I don't understand people putting money in books. And now to know that you're one of those people, I'm like, what are you doing? You want to lose money?
No, I think what happened was that it probably fell in there, like when it was in a tote bag or something. Yeah. Like in my bag. Like that is so
Ariel
hilarious.
Just has $100 bills floating around in her tote bags.
I wish. That's so funny.
Awesome. I'm glad that you picked that book. Like, damn.
That's free money, baby.
That's free money. That is free money. What are you going to do with all that?
Buy something fun with that. Some more books. Oh, that's fun. Okay. Now I want to name the episode like Ariel finds $10,000 in her bookshelf.
Yeah.
I wish. Okay. Anyways, I was loving this book when I was reading it last summer. And I do not want to let this sit there forever. Yeah. And I really know that if I go another couple months without reading it, like if we make it past this spring, summer, it's done.
It's gotta go.
I feel like this is kind of perfect. And it will be like, it'll make me excited to go swimming and stuff, which I think is nice. My next book, Homesick for Another World.
Hell yeah. It's time.
By Otessa Moshfegh. It's time. This one doesn't have a bookmark in it because I was listening to it on audiobook. Yeah. But I would say I made it past half.
Yeah, I want to say you have maybe like 5 or 6 stories left to read. Like I think there's 12 or 13 or so in there. I feel like you're around just past the halfway point, maybe.
I agree. Yeah. So I would love to finish this book for multiple reasons. First of all, just because we've now read all of Otessa Moshfegh's novels, and this is the only one of hers that I haven't read. It's a short story collection, so it's a bit different, but especially since we just read McGlue, I'm like, if I just read this now, I will have totally topped up on this author, which is awesome. And secondly, like, I remember buying this book. It was in Vernon. I think it was with you, actually.
Really?
Like, for some reason, I remember you being there. I might be confusing it with another trip to the same bookshop.
No, it's possible. I don't remember what you bought when we went there. I don't remember what I bought when we went there, so.
Yeah, no. So, anyways, I've just had this one for years and years. I would love to just finish it. And I don't think I'm going to like it, which is funny. Yeah. Like, I want to finish it and get it done, but I don't think I'm going to like this one. And then my third pick, this is...
Uh-oh.
I can do it. It's Down and Out in Paris and London. Yeah. By George Orwell. So this is controversial for a few reasons. The main one is Raylene picked this as the book I was supposed to read as the first book of the year last year. Yeah. And I started it and I just gave up on it because it was literally the mashed potato fear. Like I remember because
you wanted to read it so badly.
I know. It's so crazy that affected me so much that I actually didn't read it. And so here I am, hopefully gonna actually finish it now and read this. I will definitely have to restart it because I didn't get that far in.
Yeah.
But this would be really good to read as well because it's a classic, obviously.
I was just thinking that.
Reading classics is one of my goals for the year, so that would be double good. So there you go. These are my 3 books that I have chosen for my little mashed potato TBR, and we're really excited. We think it's gonna be fun, so definitely post a photo somewhere, use the hashtag so that we can look at what people are reading. And there we have it, Raylene.
That's it.
Another episode in the bag. Which one is this 190?
Yeah.
Whoa.
We're getting up there.
We've reached... That's crazy. We've done so many episodes.
I know. It's wild if you think about it. How many
wild.
hours that we've spent talking to each other.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
At least 190, which is frightening.
That is a lot.
Frightening to say the least. All right, beautiful. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us, whether on YouTube, where we do our video episodes, or on any other podcast platform where this baby goes out to. Yeah. We are now going to record our Patreon mini podcast, which we do every week concurrently with our main episode, where we talk about the movies or shows that we've seen recently. And I'm going to be talking about the 2 movies that I watched on the plane on the way back from England. I watched The Menu and See How They Run. That's the name of it, right?
I don't even know what that is.
The one with Saoirse Ronan?
Oh. Wait.
Is it See?
I think I know what you're talking about. I don't know.
Is it See How They Run? I keep thinking it's Now You See Me, but that's
something else.
It's See How They Run. It's See How They Run. So I watched both of these on the plane. What movie or show are you going to talk about?
I'm going to be talking about the show Beef.
Oh,
I was halfway through it last week. I almost talked about it, but I was like, no, I'm just going to wait until I'm done.
Yeah.
And I finished it like a week ago, but I'm still thinking about it. So.
Okay, amazing. I'm actually so curious to hear what your thoughts are on that. So if you want to listen to that mini podcast or check out the monthly vlogs that we do over there, each month Raylene and I both post a video that's like a reading vlog or some other fun bookish video to our Patreon. You can check that out. It's linked in the show notes in the description, but it's patreon.com/booksunbound. So thank you very much for listening, and we'll talk to you next week.
Bye.
Bye.